Hello and welcome back to Courageously Living. I am Tara and we are live. It is our Wednesday live. Welcome. Have you guys come on in? Excellent. Where are you all from today? Minnesota, Wisconsin. Kind of makes sense. It's Midwest. Absolutely. It's kind of the time frame that works best for me, and I know it's not always the best for all the other places in the US or the world, but welcome. Nice to see you. All right. So today I have a couple topics I want to talk about, and then I want to open it up for questions on what you guys want to talk about. Just remember that I do have a very diverse audience, so please be respectful with questions and in the comment section. All right, so tonight I want to talk about 3D to 5D and how I interpret that, and how I really am curious to see what your interpretation of 3D to 5D is, because it really is nuanced for each of us. And so I really want to, if we can have a discussion about it, or kind of, talk a little bit about where we kind of think it's going. And with that, I also want to talk about intentions. You're going to hear me bringing up intentions more and more. It's really about becoming much more conscious of what energy we are putting out into the world, and what are we putting out for ourselves in a daily life, because it really is important. What we're thinking about is what we're wanting to create in the new, world, if we look at that as 5D or not. Hello, welcome. Where are you from? Just getting started. Excellent. Nice to see you. Hello. Awesome. Where are you guys all from? I see more and more people are coming in. Great, saying hi. And I was just kind of going over what topics I wanted to cover tonight, but as always, these are awesome for you guys to ask questions, and we will just go with wherever you want to go with as well. So I want to kind of talk about what you guys think of 3D to 5D, and then what your intentions are, because I think that's going to be really important as we move a little bit more into the 5D realm of being conscious of what we are creating. And then, where else do you guys want to go tonight? So what do you guys want to either know about, the kind of the 3D transition to the 5D transition, or what are you thinking it really is? I can start too of kind of how I think of it, because I know there's a lot of different interpretations, and I think this is one of those things that is going to be really nuanced for all of us. So for me, I really kind of think the 3D world is a little bit more based in the fear and anger and kind of just getting through the day, whereas the 5D is a little bit more based in love and compassion and peace within ourselves, and within our communities, within kind of our general collective. And there's also the other part of that I do think there is a part that the earth or Gaia herself is changing and shifting as well, going from, where we've been to something that is going to be able to connect better with like galactic beings. Because I do believe that is very much part of that, and as is our emotions and feelings. So what are you guys like? If you guys are doing this, have any interest with the 3D to 5D world, like what have you heard that resonates with you, or what have you heard that doesn't resonate with you? Maybe something I just said doesn't actually resonate with you, and that's fine as long as you're respectful in the comments. I am fine to have people disagree with me as well. So, ooh, no one's gonna jump on this one. All right. So, the other thing that I want to talk about, and we can circle back to kind of the 3D and 5D discussion, is intentions. Hello, welcome. So nice to see you. Where are you from? As we're getting a couple more people in. All right. Everything is energy, and what we create is what we start to kind of think about more and more. If we're thinking of a world that is full of fear and anger, that is the world that we're going to see more of. If we think of the world more as a loving, kind place, we're going to find those stories that are the best of humanity. And it's one of the reasons that I do a whole series of the best of humanity, because we do have to kind of search for those right now. But there are amazing stories of people that, aren't looking to be recognized or whatever, and just doing really cool things. I think one of the videos that I posted, and it was about a year ago, but it was a athlete who was not in hurdles, and the competition, all of her teammates ended up getting hurt, and she competed in hurdles that was not her sport, just to keep her team basically in this international competition. That's the best of humanity. She didn't have to do that. She chose to do that. So what are you choosing to do for the betterment of you and the betterment of all? That is one of the things that I really think, that as we move from, kind of the 3D fear and anger to the 5D, is we're going to be making choices that are for the betterment for ourselves and the betterment for others. And I think sometimes that's a hard switch to kind of make, because we've been trained for centuries to, oh, it doesn't matter what's happening over there. Well, what if it does matter? What if it really does matter what's happening by what we're thinking about? For example, I have a neighbor who I have not gotten along with for a really long time. And I have set the intention that I send her love and peace. And I've been doing that for about a year. I set the intention of sending her love and peace, and then just kind of going about my day so she doesn't take up room in my headspace. And just recently, I have received 2 flowers from her, both from her yard, and, just kind of very low key, that she just hands me flowers. But that's huge. That's changing the dynamic of the relationship. And I really, really believe that is where we are going to kind of start going a little bit more of, is changing the dynamic of relationships by doing that in an invisible way, the power of what we are creating. And do I think she will ever tell me she's sorry? No, not at all. But me receiving the gift of the flower from her is giving her the grace of knowing that, yes, there has been things that have gone on between us. And so I really, really want to encourage everyone to really think about how you're reacting to relationships or to situations. We get into a pattern of we're doing the same thing and we're expecting a different result. So basically, let's think about it as if you could pick out like a toy ball or something and you hit the yellow ball button and a yellow ball pops out. And you're like, but I wanted a blue ball. And then you hit the yellow ball button again and a yellow button or a yellow ball drops out. And you're like, but I really wanted a blue ball. And then you hit the yellow button again and a yellow ball comes out. And then you get even madder and you're like, well, I told you I wanted a blue ball. And then you realize there's different options and you hit the blue ball button and a blue ball drops out. That's what we're doing with relationships and situations. And I'm still, oh my gosh, I'm still hitting that yellow ball button sometimes too, expecting a completely different ball to drop out. But the more that we can be conscious of that's what we're doing, it gives us the ability to actually shift and say, wait a minute, there's all these options here. I just have to pick a different option to get a different result. So, and it's hard because we're, what we know is the easier pattern. It's the one we're going to keep hitting because that's what we know. But instead, stepping back, taking that moment is going to be like, oh, okay, this is a different change. This is how we're going to look at things a little differently. So really start to kind of think about that. As I mentioned, I'm going to be talking a lot about these intentions, a lot about, what are we putting in and expecting to have different results going forward. It probably will be a topic that we'll talk fairly regularly about, is my guess. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you. All right. So, and with intentions, we can do big ones, we can do small ones. And one of the ones that I want to have you think about this week is, how do you want to feel for this week? And if this week seems too big, how do you want to feel for the next hour or the next day? Do you want to feel calm? Do you want to feel productive? Do you want to feel energized? Do you want to feel rested? What is the feeling you want to feel for whatever time frame you're setting, but don't go out further than a week. Week would be your kind of max for this. And so, do you want to feel calmer? Do you want to feel like you've been a really productive week? That's where setting the intentions are really going to help you. So I set intentions every morning of either what I want to work through in my day, how I want to feel. One of the things that I have started to really say overall is I allow, accept, and receive miracles, magic, and surprises in my life, for today. And sometimes that is just a random conversation with somebody that was just really engaging and it was a nice surprise. Sometimes it's running into somebody from way long ago in the past. And sometimes it's been, having a conversation with somebody about something that I didn't even know was a possibility. So what are you bringing in to your life? And you're doing that by setting the intention of what you want for the day or what you want for the hour. If you're going into a meeting, what do you want the meeting to accomplish? Do you want it to be productive? Do you want it to be a really free-flowing conversation of brainstorming ideas? We so often just go about our day and not even really thinking about how we're intending on what we're creating for that situation. But if we start to set the intentions of, you know what, I really want this meeting to be productive, and then when it is productive, acknowledging that, going, oh yeah, that was a great productive meeting. And the more that we do that, the more we're willing to kind of set intentions for other parts of our lives. And I will say, having done intentions for years, it is easier to start with something smaller, like a meeting, versus something that you're, really have a block with and are trying to work through. But I will say, do both. If you feel comfortable doing both, do both. Like you can say, today, my intention is every keyboard stroke I hit, I feel confident in my job. And then let it go for the day. You don't have to keep thinking about it. That's the great thing about intentions. But what you want to do is you want to repeat those like on a daily basis. So you're starting to change your neural networks to say, oh, this is the path that I want to be on, instead of just allowing the day to kind of rule you. So there is that. I want to, now that we've kind of talked a little bit about that, the intentions, and again, I'm going to be bringing those up again and again because I really, really believe those are really, truly important. I wanted to pull a card or two today for us and see, which cards came up. And obviously these two cards wanted to come, seeing they flew out of the deck. And here is our celebration card. Where are you celebrating something in your life? And it can be really small, and it can be, something bigger that you're celebrating. We as a culture forget that we can celebrate the small things. Maybe you had a really great day at work. Maybe you learned something new and you were like, yes, I'm ready to celebrate this. Even if it's getting a cup of coffee, or even if it's making your own like cup of tea or something and saying, yes, I did this. I want to celebrate this. And I will say I'm not always the best at celebrating the small things either. But when I do, it really does help me go into the next phase of something a little bit larger to celebrate, because I've already started to build that muscle of celebrating those small things. So what are you celebrating today? What are you feeling good about today? No comments on what you're feeling good about? Quiet bunch today. All right. And then we have activation. What is something that you want to activate in your life? What is something you want more of? And maybe it is celebration. Maybe that's what you want more of in your life, and that's okay. I know one of my intentions that I am setting each day is that I have joy in my life, even if it's just a little moment of joy during the day. No matter what chaos is going on in my life, in the world, I choose to find that little moment of joy. So what are you activating and what are you celebrating? All right, that is the cards for today. And this is from the Earth Magic deck. And I believe that is going to kind of wrap up our live. It was great to see different people kind of pop in for a little bit. And if you are interested, I do have a membership for $8 a month. And we do full moon and new moon readings. I do weekly readings for the energy, kind of getting you ready for the week based on what the transiting moon is. I am not an astrologer, but I do like to weave astrology into a lot of what I do. I think it's really helpful. All right. And as always, as we leave, give yourself a self-hug. Self-hug. You have a private side and a public side, and both sides can use a little bit of extra support right now. Bye for now.